Welcome once again to another magisterial live stream for modernists. I will wait to get into the meat of conversation until I see that people are popping in. I know a bunch of people who watch these were at LoserCon this weekend, so they may not be home yet. I don't know if they'll watch on the phone on their planes and or in their cars. Well, there's someone at least. Oh, and then here's this bad penny turning up. The infamous man of 1,000 heresies. Yes, my flights actually made it back to Lafayette in an orderly fashion, on time, actually early. There was not pushback for the new book title. Actually, so originally the title was just The Baal Book, and the first sentence of the introduction was, "This book is a biography of the devil." And like when they were doing the editing, they were so taken by that, they said, "Let's make that the subtitle of the book." And so I was like, that's cool. It was interesting iterating on the cover, though, because, like, a lot of the employees of Ancient Faith put out a lot of homeschool mom energy. I'll just put it that way. And so trying to come up with a cover for a devil book was a little bit challenging, I think, for them. They did this Pinterest board of like Eldritch horror and stuff, but I like the cover they settled on with the bowls and the word Baal in the glossy red. And if I am not mistaken, the word Baal is actually in the AC/DC logo font, so that's pretty metal, all things considered. So, yeah, I checked yesterday to see what the Amazon rankings were, and the Baal book was number 2 in paganism and neo-paganism, and number 3 in Orthodox Christianity at the same time. So, mega crossover success. And what that also means is that people who go on Amazon and buy pagan books are going to get recommended my book by the algorithm, it being a bestseller in the category paganism and neo-paganism somehow. I mean, it is about ancient paganism, so I mean, it's not totally crazy, but still. Yeah, Amazon doesn't have physical copies yet. They've got the Kindle book up already. They'll have physical copies soon from Ancient Faith. And I have done the first recording pass of the audiobook, but that's going to have to get edited, and I'll have to do retakes, which I haven't done yet. And then after we do the retakes, it has to get submitted, and Audible has to approve it, which can take a couple of days or a few weeks, depending on how backed up they are. So all that is to say, hopefully maybe the audiobook will be there by December, so it'll make it, you can give the audiobook of the biography of the devil as a Christmas gift to all your family and friends. But the physical book is out there for Halloween giving. You can give them out to the kids who come trick-or-treating. The kids will hate you, but you can do that if you want to. And I'll appreciate the royalties. I am not going to be attending that marriage conference. What makes you ask? Have I said some things about the marriage conference, maybe? I don't know. I have seen City on Fire. Like I said, live action Hong Kong cinema, like, I'm all in. I'm not, like, biased against Asian movies. It's just Asian animation, especially anime, just isn't my thing. So... Oh yeah, I've seen all the Drunken Masters. So one of my favorite indie comics, Madman, back in the day, it's done by Mike Allred. Everything on it is done by Mike Allred except the colors because he's colorblind. So his wife, Laura Allred, does the colors. But he's a great artist, has done tons of other stuff, but Madman is sort of his indie character. And there's a recurring supporting character in Madman comics named Chow Skip Wang, who is an obvious pastiche of Chow Yun Fat, like in The Killer and Hard Boiled, those early John Woo movies, which is kind of amazing. Because apparently if you give a man 2 guns, he becomes a god. Or so I've been led to believe. By Mr. Wu. So there's not a ton of new stuff yet. Nabopolassar is the father of Nebuchadnezzar. I am well. She can speak for herself in the chat. The dogs are all doing good. They're unbelievably happy to see me last night. I will probably do another one of these streams on Friday when the .5 season starts and they release Daredevil. Because Daredevil looks like he's going to be cool. Since the last stream, I got my 21st Lord proficiency. You can see the sheer terror of the colors on all these characters in this game. But yeah, it probably doesn't reflect well on me in any way, but that's okay. There's the second round of their summer skins came out, and there's been this for the season to get the Ultron skin, which I got. It's a pretty cool Ultron skin. The Wasteland skin. I did see Thunderbolts once it got onto Disney Plus. And I felt like it had been built up a little too much to me. It was better than the average Marvel movie. But I'd had people talk about it like it was the greatest movie Marvel had ever produced, and I don't think it was that. Part of that may be that I'm a big fan of U.S. Agent, and I don't think they gave him enough to do. Yeah, well, I mean, sort of. So, like in the comics, Thunderbolts, they changed the title of the comic from Thunderbolts to Dark Avengers for a couple of years at one point. So, you know, I didn't feel like using the New Avengers name. That's something that's happened back and forth in the comics. So, yeah. Curse of St. John the Forerunner being connected with Qumran in particular. You know, first of all, a lot of the conjecture around that kind of comes out of this Protestant milieu, which has rejected all of the Christian traditions surrounding the life of St. John the Forerunner, in terms of him being raised by angels in the wilderness, right? And on, right? And so, if you take that kind of negative,
I am a mutant and proud to be one.
30 seconds before you attack.
that kind of negative view of Sola Scriptura, where just like anything that's not in the Bible is false, which isn't really a premise of Sola Scriptura proper, but which effectively a lot of evangelicals hold. If you start with that, so all we can know for sure about St. John the Forerunner is what's in the Bible, well then yeah, there's tons of holes. And so he's out in the desert, Qumran's out in the desert, sure, right? Run wild. But I think there's value in all of that tradition. And importantly, none of that tradition connects him to any kind of community. In fact, quite the opposite. The premise of a lot of it is that he was out there with no other humans, with the angels raising him after his mother died, right? And so, you know, the idea that he was a member of a community, or even some people want to say he was the teacher of righteousness, was the leader of the sect. Like I said, that flies in the face of sort of all of the tradition we have, and is not based on a lot else besides conjecture. Just like, he's in the desert, they're in the desert. St. John clearly not a fan of Herod. Qumran not a fan of Herod, right? You know, it's sort of very surface things like that. So I don't find that idea at all convincing, or really helpful, frankly. Like, right? Like, if we say yes, he's part of the Qumran community, or even its leader, what does that do for us? How does that help us understand St. John? How does that help us understand Qumran? Right? I don't see how that's really helpful to it. So, it's not even really a useful conjecture. It's the kind of thing where, hey, I feel like I need to publish a journal article.
This feels empty.
So, I'm going to make the best argument I can to connect these two things. Conjecturally. And admit it's conjecture, but say, you know, hey, here's my best argument for a connection between the two. And there's nothing wrong with publishing such a journal article, but there's a difference between publishing a journal article and me or anyone else being like, oh, this journal article is important and has important insights. So the tradition that St. John was sinless is just like the tradition that the Theotokos was sinless, or Enoch in the Old Testament, that they... I don't think I've seen Walker.
Maximum pulse.
Right? The idea being that we're talking about active sins, we're talking about transgressions. So, if you want a biblical basis for this kind of idea about sin, you could go to St. Paul in Romans 5, verse 12, right? Where he talks about, well, not 5:12 and following. He talks about those who had not sinned in the likeness of Adam. Those who didn't sin as Adam did, right? And the way Adam sinned was by committing a transgression. Right? So yeah, Adam's given a commandment, he violates the commandment, right? That's a trespass, right? So there are people who, I do like both Paul Verhoeven and Repo Man, so I will watch Walker at some point here. Right? So, but St. Paul says, even over those who don't sin in the likeness of Adam in that way, got stuck. Death still reigns over those people, right? So that's why the Theotokos still dies, St. John the Forerunner still dies. It doesn't mean they're sinless in the same sense that Christ is sinless, but it means that they're sinless in the sense that, unlike, for example, Adam, they didn't explicitly in their actions violate any of the commandments. So that's what that's about. And yeah, no, I mean, like I said, you can make a list of commonalities that make it seem like, oh, well, yeah, they could be connected. Sure, but here's some other things to remember. There's a couple of dozen other Essene groups besides Qumran. Right? So, who all believed in holiness and being set apart, being separate. The Pharisees believed in being holy and set apart and separate. Why would you say St. John was a member of Qumran in particular and not one of those other Essene groups? So there's more to it than just a list of similarities. It's certainly possible he could have been, but as I said, there's no direct evidence that he was, and the Christian tradition that I hold has value says that he was not part of a community. Pretty explicitly. So, what helps people retain info from all kinds of things, books, lectures, podcasts, videos, whatever, is different for different people. Yeah, some people it helps a lot if they write it out, if they write down the information personally. You may have heard the story that my dad used to copy out the Bible longhand, like the English Bible longhand. Yeah, so he would copy out, he'd come home at night and spend a couple hours copying the scriptures by hand in English as a way to help memorize them and learn them. And so he did the New Testament at least a couple of times. I've got one of them, one of his handwritten New Testaments, and he did the whole Bible at least once, complete. But so that helped him, right, writing it out. That's never helped me all that much. But I have a weird memory, as you may have noticed. Where I retain information, like, to a crazy degree, like movie quotes and song lyrics and, like, books I read whether they're important books or comic books or whatever, right? I retain huge amounts of information in my brain, but when it comes to like my life and like what's going on and where I'm supposed to be and what happened yesterday and what's happening next week, I have like goldfish memory. Like, it is bad. My wife can attest to this in the chat. And so, like, that's, yeah. But so I think you just need to try a few things and see what works for you. Right? See if repetition works for you. You may have to listen to a particular thing you're trying to retain a couple of times, or, you may need to, I have a strategy. There's a skunk outside. Anyway, I have a strategy for when I'm reading something that's difficult to understand. I read it 3 times. Because I found that if I read something 3 times, by the 3rd time I get it. So stuff like when I first read Heidegger's Being and Time, like stuff like that. Like, the first time I read it, I get basically nothing. The second time I read it, I got bits and pieces that I thought, like, I kind of felt like I thought I knew what was going on, and then, like, the 3rd time I read it, I got it. So, repetition might help with retaining some stuff. Just copying, taking notes, like people said. Just gotta find what's right to you. I have nothing against skunks as long as they're not rabid and they don't spray me. Or my dogs. So I always feel awful going to confession and great afterwards.
Hero or villain.
So I don't actually feel nauseous, I don't think, but I'm not a big nausea guy.
Wind, cloud, and storm. Hear my command.
So, St. John Chrysostom said, we have it sort of exactly reversed. Like,
Power is a great gift. It must be used.
St. John Chrysostom says we have it exactly reversed, where we're bold when we go out and sin, and then we're ashamed when we have to go and confess and repent. And it should be exactly the opposite. We should be ashamed when we sin, and then we should be bold about going and confessing it, because when we go and confess it, we're going to receive forgiveness.
I want to see some places I'll never see again.
So, before going to confession, you might remind yourself of that. In terms of the apostles knowing that Jesus was God, it kind of depends on what you mean. Right? Like, do I think the apostles, before the resurrection, had an understanding of the Holy Trinity identical to the one that comes from the Nicene-Constantinopolitan Creed? No. Do I think after the resurrection, by the end of their life, they had something, a view very similar to the Nicene Doctrine of the Trinity? Actually, yes. And I would defend that. And I have in places like Religion of the Apostles. But if you're talking about just Jesus being divine, I mean, we don't have a lot of testimony from individual apostles, right? In terms of what they believed and when they believed it. But the idea that the Messiah was in some sense divine was already held by a lot of Jewish people before the birth of Jesus.
We better test this out.
On the move again.
bad guys?
I mean, you might do the job.
So, assuming those kinds of beliefs, right? At least some of the apostles probably would have, the disciples at that point, would have had the idea that the Messiah was going to be divine as soon as they identified Jesus as the Messiah. And it seems pretty clear that all of them, with the possible exception of Judas, believed he was the Messiah. Then, if they thought the Messiah was divine, that would kind of entail, oh, okay, well, he must be divine in whatever sense they held the Messiah to be divine.
How dare they invade our land during my storm?
Right? And for some of them, that would have been a full-on second power in heaven kind of idea. Or the Son of Man from Daniel kind of idea. So, that's not as big of a stretch. So, the reason people present that as if it was this huge stretch is that they have this completely ahistorical assumption that first century Jewish people were Unitarian monotheists who believed that God was one person, right? And therefore, they did not have the possibility, they did not have the ideas available to them to conceive of how Jesus as this person standing in front of them could be divine, right? Since they believed there was only one God and he was only one person, supposedly. Of course, that's nonsense. That's not what Jewish believe about God. That's still not what Jewish people believe about God, by the way. It's far more complex than that. Literally. Like in the literal meaning of the word complex. So, by the first century AD, everything they needed to hold to something equivalent to the Nicene Doctrine of the Trinity was already there within Judaism. And so, the question is when, for example, so St. John very clearly in his Gospel, in the prologue, identifies Jesus as the divine Logos, right? Well, that's part of that, right? That's believing he's divine. And that's why even old school Bart Ehrman, and Bart Ehrman has changed his position on this, but old school Bart Ehrman even said that St. John's Gospel, Jesus is presented as being divine. Now, of course, he would then say it wasn't written by the Apostle John, but, you know, what you going to do? It's Bart Ehrman. Yeah, because it's so clear.
30 seconds
But,
before you attack. Get ready.
Religion of the Apostles, I go through the other Gospels, too. Even the one that's least supposed to present him as divine in St. Mark's Gospel. And show how even there he's presented as divine.
How? I was born with this gift. No tools necessary.
So, yeah.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Basically, short version, if you want a much longer answer to that, Religion of the Apostles is the place to go to. The first about third of it is about that.
They have been seen.
I think there might have been a couple other questions in there, but I may have missed them. I think that glorified saints do, in various ways, transcend time and space.
A storm is brewing.
Why is there a prohibition on blood but not meat? The prohibition on blood was part of God giving permission for humans to eat meat.
I feel new strength.
In Genesis chapter 9. that humans are allowed to eat meat, but they are not to eat blood.
My strength has increased.
A timely boost.
I did, but barely DM Planescape. Meaning Planescape came out at the very end of my time DMing 2nd edition when I was in undergrad. Oh, there's a great day coming soon. And on that great day, Namor won't get that Hulk spawn anymore. But in terms of glorified saints transcending time and space, remember our model for what the resurrection is like is Christ after the resurrection. And he was very clearly able to enter places without crossing intervening space, like with the doors being shut. He was very clearly able to cross large distances without traversing them over a period of time. Even in a few cases, depending on how you read some of the resurrection appearances, being in multiple places at once.
Born again!
I have been a street urchin and regent of the solar system, but I am always Aurora.
So yeah, the 2nd edition campaign settings that I liked the most were Ravenloft, which was amazing, the original Ravenloft campaign setting, in terms of DMing it, and
Come, friend. We have
Dark
a great
Sun.
battle ahead of us, and no time to delay.
because I like post-apocalyptic stuff in general.
And I'm gonna do it as
I thought Dark Sun was cool, but apparently they can never reprint Dark Sun again, I have been told. Because the Dark Sun campaign setting had slavery in it.
4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Yes, you can order the Bale book right now from Ancient
Reminder
Faith.
of how mortal we all are, even the gods.
We better test this out.
But yeah, that was amazing to me, that like, that's the level of PC wokeness we have going on now. I am loath to use the term woke, but I'm sorry. Wizards of the Coast, man, it's nuts. Like, you can't do Dark Sun anymore because there's slavery in it. So like, you can't do Ancient Rome as a campaign setting because there's slavery. Like,
Capture the mission area!
you know, like, you can't do Conan because there's slavery. You can't do, you know, Ancient Greece because there's slavery. Kinda dumb.
Everybody needs a hand sometimes. Or a dagger.
Yeah, I really want Hasbro to sell D&D at this point.
judge, jury.
You can't strike down a goddess.
Right. There are a lot of in fact, the classic first edition Greyhawk campaign, a significant portion of it is your group of characters escaping from slavery
Halfway point.
and then coming back to kill all the slavers and let the rest of the slaves free. Right? Like, that's... The point is that slavery is bad. Like, that's the core thing.
A storm is brewing.
Oh, those are good games. Those Star Arcade games are pretty good.
These creeps must be Namor's friends.
Judge, jury, executioner.
They almost got it!
I also have to say, I saw a
It's good.
I'm ready.
like promotional Zoom call for D&D, and it was like executives. It was like Hasbro executives, right? So number one, everyone on the screen is a boomer, like they're in their 60s, right? Like And it's not like the boomers don't have a right to exist. You're fine. You're in your 60s. You can even still play D&D if you want to. That's cool. And you can be on the board, right? Great. But okay, they're all in their 60s. They all listed their pronouns. And every single one of them was cisgendered. So it's like cisgendered people in their 60s listing their pronouns. He, him, she, her. Like, what? Why? Right? Like, what? What virtue are you signaling here? Like, what is the point?
There you are.
Suspicious.
I feel stronger than ever.
Hunt them.
Quantum match.
It's like, hey kids, we care about your feels.
I'm good to go.
Helping from the shadows.
Control lock.
But yeah, the new D&D core books they released this year have been an absolute sales debacle. Like, old 5th edition books, they're like ancillary books. Like Tasha's Cauldron of Everything are outselling the new player's handbook. Like, it's insane. Like, just no one wants it. I think that's partially a shame because I looked at the books, and the player's handbook is not an improvement at all in any way. But the DMG is actually much better. The DMG, the new DMG, is actually a much more useful book than the old 5th edition DMG. And it includes the Greyhawk campaign setting. Like, it has a default campaign setting in it. So, I am the absolute worst person to ask about how to get kids to not do WWE moves on each other in church. Because I do not have kids of my own. Meaning, my experience with kids is as Uncle Steve. And so, Uncle Steve encourages such horseplay and misbehavior. And then when one of the kids gets hurt, I drop them off at their parents' house. Right? That's the magic of uncleness. So, yeah, I'm not a good one to help you with that. That's more Father Andrew's bag. Yeah, I mean, as long as they don't work themselves into a shoot or something, you should be okay. .5 is good, but I'm still I know part of it is nostalgia, right? But I still think second edition was great.
Team to win this
And
one.
part of the reason why I like second edition, 3.5 is great, but yeah,
Hear my command.
Thaco is the best. But I am pro Thaco in every way. But second edition, I felt like 3.5. The good thing about 3.5 was all the rules, but also I felt like the fact that 2.0 lets you be a little more freewheeling. While still, I mean, you can always do house rules, right? You can always enforce what you want and everything, but
also all of humanity.
I just felt like 2.0 was a little more freewheeling.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
That may be a personality thing and how I DM too.
Oh, me too.
Which is
You'll never get
very
to show them
loosey-goosey
today.
by 3.5
Romans
standards.
been invaded yet again. But it got weirder from there. I'll tell you about it sometime.
Be strong.
But yes, no, I did certain wrestling moves on my younger sister.
2, 1.
Always into pillows or couches.
Vehicle to its destination.
People with power must be at their best.
Check this enemy.
3.5 reminded me of a more streamlined version of Rollmaster. Has everybody around here ever played Rollmaster?
We better test this out. Enemy
I lift up my comrades.
Look out, bad guys.
Thunderbolt. If we don't hurry, Loki will have enough sap.
So Rollmaster was this game back in the day. It was a D&D competitor. And
Must stop the time you've lost.
was based around the idea that it wanted to have a deeper rule set. So first edition D&D, you talk about loosey-goosey and contradictory systems and stuff. They wanted a really deep system. And so they later got the rights to Tolkien RPG. And so they made Middle-earth role-playing as sort of their starter set. But then Rollmaster proper
We better test this out.
had books called like Arms Law, Claw Law, Spell Law, because they called their rule books law.
Against the world.
So like Claw Law was like monster combat. Arms Law was like melee combat. Spell Law, of course, was magic combat rules, right? But so they had these unbelievable charts. Unbelievable charts. So, like, you'd roll a critical miss, and they would have you roll percentile dice on a critical miss chart. And they had critical miss charts for different weapons.
Is rising again.
So, for example, if you got a critical miss with a bow, you'd roll like an 87 and you'd look it up and it'd be like, the fletching on the arrow catches your eye and rips it out. Right? So you'd like lose an eye from your critical miss. And so, not only is it like hyper detailed and has tons of charts, but Rollmaster characters, if you got to any kind of level whatsoever, man, you were like scarred up and beat up. You got like an eye patch, missing a couple fingers. Like, every time you ever messed up is like, leaves permanent marks on your character.
Storm clouds gather.
We have to speed up.
So I feel like 3.5, they had more depth of system like that, but without going crazy. Right? That's...
Double KO. That's 3. We won't stop until the tapping is stopped.
I will always lend
Oh, people getting ads. Well, I'll wait and do my spiel once people get back from ads.
Or a dagger. I suck. Sorry, no escaping us now. The vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum. Us against the world.
My favorite character in the whole series, or in season 3 in particular.
happy to help.
Um,
Strange creatures lurk below the waves. Anything is good here.
Get ready. Here come the bad guys.
I mean, it's boring, but Cooper. I think Cooper is one of the best written characters in the history of television.
I will always
Because he has everything in the hero archetype, but he's also very human. Original recipe, Cooper. Like, he has actual flaws and failings, while also conforming to the heroic
This
archetype.
storm never
It's the
truly
grand
ends.
finale.
I bring thunder.
Yeah, not Mr. C, not, like, other alt Coopers.
You're halfway there. Keep going.
So I think people are back from the ads, and so it's ad spiel time. If you don't want to see them anymore,
Strong. Real strong.
Gordon is a great character too. If you don't see those ads anymore,
Test this out.
and you have Amazon Prime,
Ultra Man now.
You cannot withstand
Faster, my friends.
Vehicle reached the checkpoint. Keep up
if you have Amazon Prime, you get a free channel subscription on Twitch every month.
Who's counting on us.
So you could use that. Well, Agent Philip Jeffries is genius. You can use that free monthly sub on Amazon on this channel, and then you will not see ads. And you will take some money away from Jeff Bezos and give it to me.
We better test this out.
I don't know which is the better part, taking it from him or giving it to me, but you will accomplish both in one fell swoop.
Don't let anything stand in your way.
withstand my might.
Any healing is
Feel the wrath of the goddess!
the ocean shall claim you once more.
So, I only partially saw the question about Christ experiencing emotions.
So close.
Yeah, it's related to the Old and New Testaments. But in general,
A fitting end.
as part of Christ taking upon himself our human nature,
Ends.
as St. Maximus says,
I bring thunder.
I could, I guess, go to a doggo camp.
Beware.
Any healing is good healing.
But, so as St. Maximus the Confessor says, part of Christ taking upon himself our human nature is that he voluntarily submits himself to what St. Maximus calls the blameless passions. So, a passion, by definition, is anything which acts upon us,
Moving again.
meaning we are passive in regard to it. So there are blameworthy passions, right? Sinful passions that act upon us, like lust, greed, sloth. Christ has none of those. He has none of the sinful passions. But those aren't proper to humanity. The sinless passions are things like hunger, thirst, becoming physically tired, right?
Feel the thunder.
And those are part of being human,
Found one of our critics.
right? They are part of the finitude of humanity and of human nature. And so Christ voluntarily takes upon himself those blameless passions. And most emotions, right? Like if you're going to call jealousy or envy an emotion, well, okay, that's different. But most emotions that we would think of, things like being moved to compassion, or notice the language there, being moved to compassion. Something is acting upon you. You are being moved. That is certainly not sin, right? Yet, we also want to say that as God, nothing moves God. Nothing can act upon God. But as part of taking our human nature, which Christ does eternally, he voluntarily subjects himself to the blameless passions. And so we can speak about, at any point, univocally, Christ experiencing sadness or tiredness or what have you, as long as, again, we remember he's doing that voluntarily. And as God can transcend that at any point that he desires. So think about Christ saying in St. John's Gospel that no one takes his life from him, but he lays it down and he can take it up again. Right.
The right heroes could make all the difference.
Wind,
So yeah, there's some
and storm. Hear
Saint
my
Maximus the
command.
Confessor among my mutant lightning bolt activities. It seems like it. So part of the problem here is that probably due to the 7 deadly sins and wrath, a lot of people assume that anger itself is a sin, but that's not actually what, for example, St. Paul says. St. Paul says, in your anger, do not sin.
When you have been
Which
powerless,
means
having
it is possible to be angry and not
30
sin.
seconds. Stay strong.
Since St. Paul is telling you to do that. He's saying, when you are angry, do not sin.
You look tough.
You look like you
So it's possible to be angry and not sin.
are you?
Famous singer.
And this is an important thing, because a lot of people who I see for confession,
You're in the right place for that.
who have problems with anger, try to do the Ed Norton in Incredible Hulk thing.
3,
And just, okay, don't get angry, 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 right? And that doesn't work. If you've ever had anger issues, if you've ever had issues with being angry and violent,
enemies better be
which I did in my youth, you know that just trying not to get angry, that's not a thing, right? That's gonna work.
I like the cold.
Rather, I talked to them about the fact that anger is energy, right? You get angry, and based on that anger, you have this energy rising up in you, right? So
Beware.
think about St. Paul when he's sailing into the port and sees all the idolatry and becomes angry about it,
You can't
right?
strike down a god.
He's angered by it. St. John Chrysostom says we should be angry at and even hate our sins.
Stop them.
So when you have that anger and that energy, you can do different things with it,
Enemies better beware.
right? You can see something horribly unjust. You can see something wrong. You can see some evil taking place, right? And you can use the energy of the anger you feel to motivate you to go do something about it, right? To try to fix the situation. Or you could use that anger that's welling up inside you to go burn down the local Walgreens, right? And not really accomplish much of anything except destroying a Walgreens.
Stop them in their tracks.
So you could use the energy that anger represents productively or destructively.
A nice deep breath.
Now's the time to hit him.
And the goal is then to find ways to use it productively. Even if it's just going out and doing physical exercise, helps a lot of people. Just burning it off that way. Well, if you want to use the two terms, the Bible doesn't really like we'll use orgi for like the wrath of God, for St. Paul being angry about idolatry.
Overconfidence will destroy you. Mightier than Odin.
Well, see again, yes, you get angry because someone has hurt you, someone has done something wrong to you, right? The question is not should you get angry because it's too late. The question is what do you do with that? Do you use that anger to go take revenge? Do you go and take that anger out on maybe the person who did that to you, you can't get revenge on them. So you go and you take it out on someone else who's not even the person who wronged you, right? Someone bullies you and so you go and bully someone else, and so then, yes, you can pray for your enemies. You can use that energy, to give you the guts to go up and say something to them about, how they're acting toward people, right? There are many ways to use
There's still a chance to stop
that
them.
anger positively. And channeling anger, if you're dealing with anger issues, channeling anger is much more often successful than just trying not to get angry. Right? But honestly, in our modern world, more and more, at the core of most sins, most of the things people do that we label as lust, most of the things people do that we label as anger, honestly, all are a result of sloth. Like, sloth is at the core of so much of it. And we don't understand why. But the reason is, God has given us life, and He's given us energy, and He's given us abilities, and He's given us these things to use. Right? To use profitably for His kingdom, but also to use, you know, to have joy, right? And relationships with people in this world, and all of these things, right? But we don't use that energy for it. We don't work hard, right? We don't spend our time wisely. We spend a lot of our time just sitting around doing nothing. We just wasting time. And when you don't burn that energy off, when you don't use that energy that God gives us for life, and don't use the life He's given us in these productive ways, then what happens is that energy just builds up. It's sort of like squeezing a balloon. You squeeze a balloon, and the pressure is going to find the part that's weakest, and it's going to break there. And that's what happens to a lot of us. We have all this energy built up that God has given us to do good with. We're not doing good with it. We're not doing anything with it. It builds up, and different people have different weak points. So if your weak point is lust, pressure will go there. If your weak point is anger, it'll go there, right? Everything will just start irritating you until you snap. If your weak point is pride or whatever it is, right? It'll find it, right? And so, one way to work on dealing with almost any sin is to become more active and less passive, right? Because we were just talking about the sinful passions, right, that act on you. Absolutely. Sadness is normal. Sadness is positive. Right? So, if you're sad because you've lost someone, right, that's because you love them. To never be sad, you'd have to never love anyone or anything, because in this world you're going to lose some of them. Right? And I sadly, I've known some people like that.
Storm clouds gather.
Maximum pulse!
Like, I know people who will never own pets because they know the pets will die.
Well, you can't expect to win them all.
And they'll lose them. And so they just never have pets. And they'll cut themselves off from people and stuff for the same reason. Right? And that's not... Right, the trade-off you have to make to live your life, right? The trade-off you have to make to live your life and to live a good life is that loving someone, right, and loving people means you're going to lose people, and you're going to have that heartbreak, right? Christ had it when St. Lazarus died. And He brought him back from the dead. But he still experienced that sadness because of His love for him. Right? And as somebody who's now become an old man, to some folks who are probably mostly younger than me, you will never in your life regret. You will never have a point where you lose someone or something in your life, and that causes you enough sadness that you regret ever having known them. That will never be the case. The reason you will be sad, the reason you'll be sad at losing them, is because of how precious and beautiful the love you had for them was.
When you have been powerless,
And that it is now in some way ended.
means something.
So go out there and get your heart broken.
They'll be coming in 30 seconds. Stay strong.
All the time.
Let us
And when
strike
you're
our
old,
foes
you will have lived a
like
good
bolts
life.
of lightning from the heavens.
I'd prefer to strike him like an arrow from my bow.
Do you question my aim, Avenger?
Nah. I'd just like to be able to hit the same place more than once if needed. Bad guys won't like
The
this.
battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have to stop them from securing the mission area.
Follow my lead. Or don't. I really don't care.
Beware, enemies. Destroy the ark. You may not fear the ark.
Energy is good.
I mean, I am a little bit of a degenerate, but yeah, I mean, I try to keep it at the minimum.
I am healed.
This storm never truly ends. Feel the thunder.
Now's the time to hit him.
A timely boost.
But I don't know. We may have gotten too deep. Now nobody wants to be the one who ask a question about Conan or something.
You need to stop that vehicle in its tracks.
Breaks the mood.
Be strong.
But that's another thing about. So, I am completely unsold on the Absolute Universe.
Now I am more
I am not a Scott Snyder fan though. So if you're a fan of Scott Snyder's Batman in general, and of like death metal and stuff, if you're a Snyder fan, I think you'll probably like it, to be honest. That's just, I am not a fan of any of that stuff. If you're not big on Snyder, you're not going to like it. You're not going to like any of the Absolute stuff. It's basically an extended Snyder Elseworlds.
You get a weapon, you get a weapon.
Yeah,
Once I get
see,
you
I'm
stuck,
not
game
at all into it. Somebody had a question about Hebrew roots that I need reposted for me.
Now I am more dangerous. I am wounded. Friends, gather around.
I am shielded.
There we go. Okay, so that's both reposts that got cut off for me at I've recommend, presumably recommended. But I don't know what he's recommended. Or she. I should be sexist. He or she.
Come back.
Oh, ROTA. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Religion of the Apostles is aimed at that kind of thing. Somebody put together a playlist on YouTube of all of my conversations with Jacob Fatarecci, my Jewish friend. They might be interested in some of those. Because one of the things I've found is that most Hebrew roots folks not only do not really understand Christian tradition, but they also don't really understand Judaism. They have a view of what Judaism is that's kind of based on Protestantism, on Protestant theology more than actual Judaism.
As if I wasn't strong enough.
Are you talking about Orthodox Shahada? Are you talking about his? Because I know him. His worship, Orthodox or Jewish and Christian worship documentary? Because if so, I will second that is very good.
We are undefeatable!
Step carefully.
Oh yeah, no. Ezra Klein is a political windsock. Like whatever is in the moment, he decides to rebrand himself as, and brand is the key term, because he's not actually doing or accomplishing anything political or in any other sphere, right? So he's like, oh no, we need to. I'm a Democrat. We need to appeal to mainstream Republicans more. Okay, abundance. We're all about abundance. We're all about people getting rich. How are you going to do that? Abundance. Yeah. Oh, people are upset about Charlie Kirk. Oh, Charlie Kirk he's the best. He was the best. What a great Charlie Kirk. Yeah, like.
Mess with the amazing Spider-Man.
Just total wind. Which way is the wind blowing? Oh, let me move over in that direction slightly. Yeah. So it's just, you know, what are the kids into now? Hello, fellow kids. But enough about bashing Ezra Klein. Yeah. So those kind of converts who are trying to kind of go too far too fast, I try to talk to them about. I try to get very practical with them. Like, you don't have theological conversations with them. That's part of the problem. They're trying to have theological conversations that are out of their depth without first having the kind of, like, real experience of the Orthodox life yet, because they're like catechumens, right? And so I always drag it back to that, and I talk to them about their actual prayer life and their actual fasting and stuff. And what almost everybody finds that's useful in this regard is they try to do everything, right? Like, I'm going to keep, oh, okay, first fast, I'm going to keep all the fasting rules totally strictly. And probably a good 85 to 90% of the time when they try that, they shipwreck, right? Like, they end up accidentally breaking the fast 5 or 6 times, or they get physically sick, or some other shipwreck happens, right? And so I point out to them, right? I say, okay, you tried to do the whole thing, you crashed out, and what did you end up doing? Probably nothing, right? So you made it everything or nothing, right? You made it everything or nothing, and ended up doing nothing, right? Wouldn't it be better for you to have done something than nothing, right? Same thing with prayer rules and stuff, right? They're like, I'm going to pray, you know, the entire Jordanville prayer book 5 times a day, right? Facing toward Constantinople, or whatever they do, right? Like, you know, and then lo and behold, you know, they do that for maybe a week, and then they break the pattern because they're exhausted or something happens to their schedule or something, and then, oh look, now they're not praying at all, right? Because they broke their pattern and then they just stopped, right? And so again, they made it everything or nothing, tried for everything, ended up with nothing. Wouldn't it be better to do something? Right? So I always advise everybody to start out very minimalistically, right? I say start out for prayers, do the Trisagion prayers when you get up in the morning, and do the Trisagion prayers before you go to bed. And they're like, well, that's not much. And I'm like, you're right. And I'm like, when you've done that every single day for like a month without ever skipping, right? 1 month, never skipping, just that. Come talk to me and we'll add more, right? Because you're right, that's not much. And I almost never have anybody come back to me 30 days later, number one. Right? Like,
Don't mess with the amazing
I sometimes have people come to me a few months later, but never 30 days later, right? Because I say, no, it starts again if you miss. Right? And work from there, right? And build from there. Same thing with fasting. I say, first fast, just give up meat. Have eggs, have dairy, have all the other things, right? But just give up meat, right? See how that goes. When you pull that off for a whole fast, then we'll talk about other things. But I think if you address that to those kind of folks in terms of those practical things, right? In applying it to those practical things in their own life, they'll start to apply that lesson more generally, right? Meaning they'll start to take that and apply it to, you know, theological arguments and how much they think they know about the faith and all of this, and kind of mellow it out. So I missed that last question. I need a repost. That was a funny from Johnny. But also, this is going to be the last game for this evening, which means somebody gets to pick my character. First character I see. Someone on the schizoid spectrum, embrace of the church. Ultron it is. Yeah, so honestly, I don't have a lot of positive good tips for that in terms of what on the schizoid spectrum. Because in the past, my attempts to work with that haven't gone well. In the sense, so I'll give a for example, because this is a case far removed in time and space from anybody now to figure out who it is. But at a parish I was at, not my current parish, when I first got there, there was a woman who was diagnosed with schizophrenia. And when I first got there, said lots of nice flattering things to me about how, she had dreamed that I would come there and I was a man of God, and how wonderful I was. She already knew, having just met me. But then, without going into a lot of detail, bad things were happening in her life and stuff. Not at all taking her medications. Needed to take her medication. Family, very worried for her and with good cause. Came to me and said, well, you know, she thinks all these things about you. Is there any way you could try to talk to her about this and about taking your medication? And I sat down with her, and the second I brought up medication, she looked at me and said, oh, you're not Father Stephen. Where's the real Father Stephen? And I'm someone who knows my limitations, and I got a bunch of degrees, but one of them is not in psychology or psychiatry. And so, and I never ever want to, you know, pretend to be something I'm not, or to have skills I don't have and potentially do damage to someone. You know what I mean? So at that point, I just backed off. I told the family she definitely needs help, but I'm not the one who's going to be able to do that. So generally, when I'm trying to deal with that, I try to get people connected with physicians, right, and professionals who know how to help those folks, and then once they're, you know, in a situation where they're getting the kind of support and everything that they need, then I'll engage with them about spiritual stuff, right? And talk to them and work with them. But I don't try and do it without getting them that kind of help first, and I don't try to provide that kind of help because I'm not qualified to do it. So, as humans, we
do not surrender what is ours.
We suffer different kinds of illness, right? We suffer physical illness, mental illness, and spiritual illness. And there are practitioners who can help us with all three of those. And all three of those overlap, right? Like, they're not three discrete things, where the spiritual is sort of in one box by itself, and the physical is in one box by itself, and the etc., right? And that's why people who are qualified and who are providing care need to work together to help people be healed in all three ways. So in the same sense that I'm not a faith healer, and like I'm not gonna, if you have a broken leg or cancer, I'm not gonna, you know, just pray, right? I'm gonna pray for you, and I'm gonna give you the anointing of the sick, and I'm gonna send you to a doctor, a physician, right? Same thing is true with mental illness. I'm not a faith healer of that either.
We need to capture this spot.
Great job! You're loading up on resources! You've got competition! Clear the enemies to extract more resources! Oh, I love it. It's party time!
So, the ancients tended to, thank you for that compliment about the Bale book. I think it is the only, ancient faith book that really talks much about bestiality. The ancients didn't really distinguish between spiritual and mental illness, or physical and mental illness, right? As such, as that they didn't use the term. But they had ideas, so they'll speak about the illness of melancholia, right? And depending on who you look at, melancholia, which we would now call depression, like clinical depression, some of them would say, oh, this is caused by physical things. Sometimes they were kind of right, because there are physical things that contribute to depression. And sometimes they were totally wrong, like they thought it was an imbalance of the humors and you should bleed the person, right? Congrats on MVP in the last game. Man of 1,000 heresies. So sometimes they were right, sometimes they were completely off base. Other people would treat it purely as a spiritual thing. And sometimes they were very right, and that there were spiritual things going on that were causing despair or depression. And sometimes they were wrong, there's something else going on. So I think mental illness is a valid modern way of seeing these things, as long as, like I said, as long as we don't see this as like a discrete thing. As long as it's not, well, this is just mental illness, so there is no spiritual factor and no physical factor, right? Or vice versa. We see all of these things together. Then I think mental illness is a good category to have to work with in there. So, yes, that was the last game. Thank you, everybody. Like I said, I'll probably do a stream. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but I'll probably do a stream Friday night when the new season comes out. And maybe you'll get to see me, depending on how quickly I can claim him, see me play Daredevil. See the new character stuff. Because I love Daredevil as a character. Daredevil is one of the most consistently good comics at any major company. Although Saladin Ahmed's run has been pretty lousy, the most recent one. But that's the exception that proves the rule. But anyway, Lord willing, I will see you then.